Hey, Gabriel here with the Icon Capture GPS Intelligence Brief for June 19th, 2026. All right, government affairs directors and influence practitioners, we need to talk because this is one of those boards where if you only look at the opportunity count, you are going to misread the market. Here's what I want to do with you today. I want to walk through the new opportunity flow, the legislative and executive movement, the regulatory and court signals, and then bottom line what this means if you're actually managing a portfolio right now and trying to decide where to lean in, where to stay patient, and where you may be kidding yourself. Before we start, this is the last brief before this terrain window narrows. 0 seats left in the GPS Displacement Window review. 6,572 opportunities, competitive displacement windows this week. That signal is what opened this session, and it will not repeat the same way tomorrow. Code GPS 551 at the-icon.ai capture. Now, let's read the board. So, let's get right to the facts. Over the last 168 hours, GPS surfaced 6,572 new opportunities posted on SAM.gov. 2703 legislative signals, 0 federal hiring signals across 0 agencies. And all of that is happening while market BCL is 0%, with 0 agencies stalled under the continuing resolution. Opportunity flow is surging with 6,572 opportunities in the past week, signaling a dynamic, albeit chaotic, landscape for government affairs directors. While the volume is impressive, the lack of budget clarity, amount null. In top postings like P-8A aircraft full-rate production and DHS's cloud initiative raises questions on the Capture Terminals board about how accessible these opportunities truly are. Raw volume might suggest a bounty, but accessibility is another matter entirely when financial parameters remain oblique. The absence of legislative or regulatory adjustments evidenced by 0 activity in DFARS changes implies a flat compliance environment, but don't be lulled into complacency. The board's current reads suggest that compliance friction could still emerge unexpectedly from court opinions or stalled legislative efforts. The capture ticker is especially useful here, helping peers gauge any sudden shifts that might not yet register in the broader data. Volume without clarity can lead to a kind of CR drag, where the cost and risk of chasing these opportunities outweigh the benefits. For managers who read this tape, the strategic play involves identifying which opportunities have the highest probability of clarity emerging soon, perhaps leaning on historical patterns or insider knowledge that the capture terminal can illuminate. In this way, the data isn't just a stream of information, it's a source of strategic foresight. Secondary signals offer their own narrative, one that government affairs directors would be wise to heed. With no terrain holes in the landscape, the assumption might be that the terrain is navigable. Yet, the absence of hiring and lobbying activity suggests a market mispricing where the actual interest and readiness to act don't match the surface-level data. 0 court opinions further indicate a lull in judicial influences, often a precursor to sudden legal interpretations that could shift regulatory landscapes overnight. For influence practitioners, this dormant state can be a fertile ground for swift action, capitalizing on the quiet before potential storms of compliance challenges. Without lobbying clusters to speak of, there's a unique opportunity to shape the conversation. This vacuum allows for concentrated efforts to influence policymakers before the terrain becomes crowded and competitive. The absence of active lobbying suggests that those who can move now with strategic alliances and narrative crafting will find themselves ahead when the market corrects its current mispricing. In this environment, smart portfolio moves are less about chasing the loudest signals and more about anticipating the quiet shifts. Reading the policy tape can reveal where the real leverage lies, often in those subtle, overlooked areas where future compliance roadblocks or opportunities for influence will first appear. The current market is characterized by rapid policy shifts and dynamic regulatory landscapes, demanding astute navigation and strategic foresight. Key questions for government affairs and influence professionals include: how are emerging regulatory signals and court decisions shaping compliance requirements? What potential protest risks could disrupt stakeholder alignment and operational continuity? How can we anticipate and adapt to sudden policy lane changes to maintain a competitive edge? In this environment, the ability to swiftly interpret and respond to regulatory signals is paramount to ensuring sustained influence and proactive stakeholder positioning. Last thing before I sign off, and I want to be direct. 0 seats left in the GPS Displacement Window review. When this window closes, the terrain that justified it moves on. Tomorrow's signal will be different. The next session will read a different board. If the brief we just walked through gave you a reason to act, now is the time. Code GPS 551. communities.theicon.ai/capture the-govcon-elite. 12.3 million records, 4 verticals ready. Provenance traced from bill to award. Like and subscribe if you're managing a federal grant, research, GovCon, or commercial portfolio. I drop a new GPS brief every weekday. All links, terminal preview, Shipley sessions, live cohort calendar, and the full brief are at communities.theicon.ai/capture/the-govcon-elite. Register free, and it's all there. This is Gabriel. I'll see you tomorrow. Just a quick note, you'll be disconnected in